Welcome back, guys, to another Brave Exvius video. Today we're going over the first of the Esper units here. The first two that are going to be available are Infernal Rain as well as Dark Spirit Soul here. So we have Ifrit Rain as well as Diabolos Soul here. There will be another banner review for the Fina and Axstar Esper units. Now, we are going over the two here today and the two next time, but there's also going to be an additional 4 afterwards that haven't been announced yet, but we will be seeing this. This is the start of the Esper Unit Meta as it was out in JP. Now, how strong are these units going to be in comparison? Their global upgrades, are they going to be good enough? That's what we're going over today, guys. So thank you once again for coming and joining. Thank you guys for the support. If you want to see more stuff, comments and like down below which of the 4 or out of the 8 if you're in the know about all of the Esper units that you're going for. And then thank you once again for those of you who support via Patreon or by becoming YouTube channel members. So let's get in here right now. Infernal Fire Rain. Very strong character. The little bit of buffs they gave him aren't like insane. I'm gonna do that right front up. They didn't like rework these characters and make them insanely different or anything. They gave them small nudges to help them up. We're talking like small multiplier increases, which we will go over. All right, now the TMR here. Ifrit Synergy, talked about this before. It's okay. 50% attack with a great sword. We've seen that before. 30% fire resist is on there. 2 LB gauge crystals per turn. It's good. Is it anything new, revolutionary? No, but it's strong. If you have it, you know, you're going to be using it on rain or something like that. But it's going to be one of those things just kind of floating around the FFBE universe. His STMR is the Infernal Battle Garb. Also one of those things that's just pretty good. 54 attack, 50% fire resist, and then gives you the effect of imbued with the Fire Beast's might, which gives you 50% beast killer there. So just another one of those things that's pretty good. You're going to use if you have it, but you don't need to go, you know, racing out there to try to get it with an Omni Prism Moogle and a Super TMR or anything crazy of that nature. Weapon selection, pretty good. Great swords, katanas, hammers, spears, fist weapons, swords, all the general stuff, as well as all the armor in the game outside of robes there. Now let's move into his kit here. We're going to have his Nullifying Saber for a Dispel. Nothing insane, nothing revolutionary in his kit. He is a Stardust Ray chainer primarily. I think that might be his only chaining frame family yet. This is only chaining frame family here. And he's going to have some skills here that go in there and do damage with his chaining frame of Stardust Ray. So we have Crimson Knight's Blade here, and he's going to have these skills that work. We've seen these before. Or if you use a certain skill beforehand, these are going to be upgraded versions. So we have Beast Breaker, which is going to upgrade some skills. We're going to have Fire Beast Roar, which is going to upgrade some skills. So Crimson Nightblade, always Stardust Ray. Low mod, it does give some LB fill to the caster, which is himself. If you use it after Crimson Knight's Blade, if you use that after Beast Breaker, you're going to be getting a stronger LB gauge increase, a stronger multiplier, and it's going to give you triple Saber for 5 turns to the caster there. Fire Beast Blade, very similarly, if you use it after Beast Breaker, the multiplier is going to go up. It's going to do a very, dots in this game just aren't that good. It's going to do a fire damage over time effect to the enemy, and it's going to give you triple Saber as well. So Fire Beast Blade, not nearly as good as Crimson Knight's Blade. Fire damage dots, 8.0 multiplier over for 4 turns. Not really all that great there. Now we have Blaze Saber here, which is his Fire Imbue. If you use it after Fire Beast Roar, not only is it going to give you that 4-turn Fire Imbue from the normal version, still going to do that in the upgraded version, but it's also going to be 120% Fire Imperil for 4 turns to one enemy as well. So that's pretty strong, and the multiplier actually does go up. It goes from 6.0 to 17, so it's a pretty substantial increase there. And these are some of the buffs that we saw. The multipliers went from like 5.25, I think, up to like 6.0. So a little bit of a small buff there. Nothing revolutionary, though. Nothing insane. Earth Saber works the same way as Blaze Saber Ifrit. Upgraded the same way. If you use it after Fire Beast Roar, you get that nice multiplier increase. You get the 120% Imperil, but this time for Earth. And you also get that 4-turn Earth Imbue for himself there. Grandshelt Saber. We've seen something like this before. Stardust Ray. 0.5 mod on the base version with a 5.0 ignore 50% multiplier on the back end. And this is going to receive triple the effect of any sort of multiplier buffs, which he is going to have. Now he does have double Saber, so that helps him out there. And then we get to the Beast Breaker down here. So the Beast Breaker is going to give him Beast and Plant Killer for 4 turns to the caster, High Tide, and it's going to give a multiplier increase to Grandshelt Saber for 4 turns as well by 5.0. And that multiplier is going to go in there 3 times, remember, so it's going to be a 15 times mod increase. His first of 2 cooldown skills is Fire Beast's Rage, 5-turn cooldown, available on 1. It's going to be a 250% attack buff, and then it's going to be a 100% resistance to attack break on himself there. It's also going to unlock Triple Saber for 5 turns to the caster. King Saber Ifrit here, another sort of thing, 2 times mod on the first 9 hits with an 8.0 ignore 50% defense on that final hit there. Also Stardust Ray. And we have Fire Beast's Roar here, 3-turn cooldown, available on turn 3. Heavy hitting skill, 3 times mod to one enemy with 20 times mod ignore 50% defense to all enemy on that back part. So all in all, before any sort of multiplayer increases, this skill alone is a 43 times mod, which actually isn't super insane. We have characters who hit those sort of mods on skills now, and this is his cooldown skill. But remember, he's going to have multiplier increases on top of that. So let's go down to here to his mod increases here. At level 120, he does get 8.0 mod to King Saber, 5.0 to Grand Shell Saber, and 3.0 to Fire Beast Roar. Every single one of those skills is going to be applied 3 times with that multiplier because they all work the same way. They're all multi-part, and the second part does have an ignore 50% defense effectiveness on them. So pretty decent overall, nothing super crazy. He is a CG character, so he does start with his Limit Burst as one of his passives as well. His TMR/STMR ability here gives him 50% attack, 4 Limit Burst gauge crystals per turn, and a little bit of bonus stats from having Ifrit equipped on him. He also is going to be pretty nice off on the attack passives here, 20%, 30%, 40%, and then 50% passives there, all to attack. And he's got a 30% attack, spirit, and MP passive, and he's got some nice tanky passives here with defense and HP again, and then spirit and MP. He also comes with 150% true double hand, and then he also has 50% beast and plant killer on top of that. So he's going to be a little bit better off than most characters against beasts and plants for the most part. He does have some fire and earth resistance. He also has some high tide, and then he has some MP refresh to himself. Now his limit burst here is going to be Inferno Claw. Inferno Claw. It's going to be 32 limit burst crystal costed, 120% imperil with a 24 times mod ignore, 50% defense, so a 48 times mod. All in all, is he good? Yeah, he's good. Is he like a game-breaking unit? Not really. Not particularly. He doesn't have like any sort of stacking mods or anything. The upgraded version of these skills, right? For a Fire Beast Blade where you need to use Fire Beast Sword, that skill does not come off cooldown. Remember, until turn 3. You can't use it until turn 3. So that's going to hurt him a little bit, but it's not that big of a deal because you're primarily using these to unlock a Triple Saber with the Beast Breaker unlocks, or you're using it for the 120% imperil. Most notably with the Blaze Saber Fire Beast Roar. This is the 3-turn cooldown that unlocks on turn 3 is Fire Beast's Roar. And that's where your 120% imperils are going to be for Earth and Fire. Or you can go ahead and use your 120% imperil from Inferno Claw if you so desire there. There might be another way you need to also imbue without the upgraded version here as well if you're using him to imbue himself. So keep that in mind there. And that's pretty much it to it. You're going to need to use himself to imbue if you use an imbuer, and that's going to come without the imperil. That's going to be a weakness there if you're using him as his own imbuer. And then if you're using him as his own imperiler, he's going to get that literally only from his limit burst until 3 and beyond for that 120% imperil. His multipliers, not super insane, but they are good, especially the buffed Grand Shell Saber here with the buff from Beast Breaker. Once you cast Beast Breaker, gets a 5 times mod right there, and then Grand Shell Saber gets another 5 times mod. So a total of 10 times mod increase, which is very nice. That mod multiplier increase is applied 3 times, so it's going to be a total of a 30 mod increase. So this multiplier of the skill should be a 41 times multiplier after just using simply Beast Breaker. You can start chaining that with his Grand Shell Saber. Very strong multiplier in that scenario. That one is AoE as well on the second part. So is King Saber. King Saber down here has a stronger base mod. It doesn't have any way to buff the multiplier outside of the passive here, but it does have another 8 times multiplier increase right there. So that's going to also get applied 3 times. So that's going to be a base right away 24 times multiplier increase plus another 16 plus 24, 40, 42 times mod right there. So higher mod without even needing to do anything else. So this is the skill that we're just using here. You don't need any sort of Grand Shell Saber buff. Once you get 7-star, you're literally just using King Saber for your damage. That's pretty much how I want to call him Eldor King Rain, but that is Infernal Fire Rain in a nutshell for you. Very strong character there. Like I said, damage dealers are everywhere. Just pick the one that you like. If you like Rain, you like Ifrit, you like that cool unit, go out and get your boy, go and have some fun with them. Outside of that, he's not breaking the meta or anything, so you can, go ahead and not feel bad or whatever about getting the newest, shiniest damage dealing unit. That's pretty much how every damage dealing unit review goes on this channel. It's cool, it's good, but at the end of the day, you don't need the shiniest thing. But whatever, going in the Dark Spirit Soul here, another new shiniest damage dealer. He does look cool as heck, dude. He does look cool as heck. His TMR is the Revenant Necklace. Right away, we have to keep in mind, this is an accessory, has no raw magic on it whatsoever, so that's a big drawback there. The effect, though, does give you 50% magic and 25% demon killer. I don't think this accessory is all that good, simply because it doesn't have that raw magic. I think it's actually pretty terrible. You're either building a mage, true dual wield, or true double hand, and compared to just something that has, like, say, 50 raw magic on it, right? If you had 50 raw magic compared to this, just some random accessory with 50 raw magic on a 300% TDH build, you're missing out on the 50 raw magic from the accessory itself, plus the 150% for the 300% TDH. You're missing out on 200 magic right there. And this does come with the magic 50%, but it's not that hard to cap out a mage's percent magic. And the demon killer on it is really, really, really low. So you can get the demon killer from somewhere else. I don't really like this TMR in the grand scheme of things. His STMR Diabolos synergy, I don't think is that good either. 60% magic, 80% dark resist. Yay. Moving on, though, we go down to hit the rest of his kit here. Equipment selection, he can thankfully wear rods because he is a mage. That's going to help him out a bunch. He can oddly also wear hats and helmets. So you a helmet wearing mage there. No heavy armor, though, so you're not using Golbez as super TMR or anything of that sort. Okay, guys? Now, moving into his skills, he does have dual cast, so he can use actual magic if you want him to. He does have a 50% demon and human killer buff for himself, which is pretty cool. He does have both Chaos Wave and Chaos Wave Awaken skills, okay, but don't be deceived. His main damage dealing skills are going to be Execution and Deflagrating Heat, which are Chaos Wave Awaken. He does have normal Chaos Wave skills, though, a non-elemental one, which makes it pretty bad unless you're trying to specifically do non-elemental damage, because you can't take advantage of imperils or elemental chaining with it. And then the other Chaos Wave ones are 80% imperils, but their multipliers are much, 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 much lower at 6.0 here compared to his main damage dealing Chaos Wave Awaken skills of up to 48 times mod, which is actually pretty strong. And I think out of the two units, he got the best of the upgrades. He went from like a 35, 36 mod up to like a 48. So this is a real deal unit here. If you're a fan of Soul, you're going to be picking him up. Outside of that, he does have a little bit of resistances to fire and dark for your team. He has a 70% spirit break for your enemies with a 200% magic buff for himself. And he does have some 25% HP and MP heal to himself with the Demon Soulless. But honestly, really, guys, as with most things, the only real support, you might use the fire and dark resist. You might use the defense or the spirit break here. You might use the magic buff. Outside of that, you're going to be using the demon and human killer buff for himself, and you're just going to be imperiling and double and triple casting his Chaos Wave Awaken skills in his base kit. Now moving into his cooldown skills, though, he does have Devil's Curse. That's going to be a 75% spirit break with 120% fire and dark imperil, and he's going to get quadruple obliteration for 2 turns as well. So it says 2 turns. Remember the way this is worded, it means the next turn basically from Devil's Curse. Now he has a 7-turn cooldown skill as well with a 150% human and demon killer buff for 5 turns to the caster and 4 turns of quadruple obliteration. And it also enables 2 special skills, which is Power of Chaos and Devil's Impact. So now that we're demonetized for talking about Soul and all these ways, let's go see what these skills are. Power of Chaos gives him a 280% magic buff for 1 turn, and it gives a 14.5 multiplier buff for 1 turn to Deflagrating Heat or Execution. And then Devil's Impact is an 8-hit Chaos Wave Awaken skill with a 120% fire and dark imperil for 3 turns to all enemies and a 50 times multiplier. Now this is non-elemental, so keep that in mind. It does look very powerful, very strong, but it's non-elemental. But you can use this as a non-elemental option for you, or you can also use it to re-imperil if, say, your imperils run out or they get dispelled. But Power of Chaos is awakened. A Power of Chaos D, I want to call it Power of Chaos Awakened, Very, very strong, because you're going to be using this with your quadricast. So what you're going to be doing here once you have Power of Chaos is going to be quadricasting. You're going to be picking either, Deflagrating Heat or Execution. And instead of quadricasting each of these multiple times at 48 mod each, you can get in here and you can Power of Chaos and then cast Deflagrating Heat, says Execution 3 times afterwards. Get that big magic buff. If you need the magic buff, that's when you're going to use this. For that big magic buff, you're going to add a 14.5 mod to each of these casts, so 14.5 times 3. Plus the big magic buff is when you're going to be using that. If you already have this max stacked 48, right? If you already have this at maximum stacks ready to roll, then I don't think that this actually will help you out in that situation. If you already have like a strong 250% magic buff, you already have like a 48 mod rolling on your skills, then you're not going to be using this, because this only adds, what, 30, 42, 44 something times mod multiplier. My quick math, let's see. Well, if it was 15, it'd be 45, so minus 1.5, so 43.5 versus this being at 48. So there's no reason to cast this and then or triple cast the other ones if you already have the magic buff. Now, if you don't have a magic buff and you're not at the full 48 mod each yet, then that's where you're going to be using that. Remember, this takes 6 casts to get to that 48 times mod, but you can get there pretty easy. So like the first, you might Path to Destruction, open your quadricast next turn, use Power of Chaos, right? Use Devil's Impact, get the Imperil, and then finish off with Conflagrating Heat or Execution times 2. But once you're at max stacks, you're not using this unlock skill either. Now his LB is the Devil's Omen, demonetized. 50 limit burst chaos crystal cost. It is a 28 mod with ignore 50% spirit to all enemies and give yourself 250% high tide. I wouldn't use this skill. Once again, non-elemental, nothing crazy there. As far as passives go, we're going to be looking for True Double Hand / True Dual Wield. He has 150% True Double Hand and 150% True Dual Wield. So I think Soul's actually very, very strong. His multipliers are really good. His Imperils are really good. His damage is really good. He has access to Quadricast for a while. And most importantly, he's got Demon and Human Killer, which are 2 of the most common enemy types among all enemies. He's got really good True Dual Wield magic, which is insane. Really good True Double Hand. But he's already got so much good True Dual Wield magic that's the good thing there. Now, there is one small caveat, though, to him having 150% True Dual Wield magic. He doesn't actually have Dual Wield. So you're going to have to give him Dual Wield somehow, and that does suck. They need to stop doing this. It is the dumbest thing ever. 150% base True Dual Wield magic does not have Dual Wield in his kit whatsoever, so that's pretty garbage. He's got a little bit of spirit passives, no defense passives really outside of this 20% defense, a lot of magic everywhere. So he's gonna be a little squishy, but like most mages are, he does have guts, which is helpful. He does a little bit of dark resist, and he does have some, he's immune to blind, paralyze, confusion, and petrify, and fire and dark resist here. So pretty strong unit. It's gonna be dishing out the damage. If you've been looking for a mage, he's gonna be a good one for you to shoot for your team in FFBE. You won't be disappointed. And then anytime you're fighting a human or a demon, which is like 80% of the time, he's gonna be doing so much damage for you, because that's one of the things that mages kind of lack in comparison to physical damage dealers, is those big killers. And he's got some pretty big killers, especially that killer buff, which only a couple other units in the game have 150% or higher buffs for those different enemy types. So very strong unit there. If you guys want to see more stuff, the other Esper units, more FFB, more War of the Vision stuff, this is the channel for it. Thank you guys for your time here today, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Comment down below once again which of the 4 or 8 of the units you're looking forward to the most, or even just whatever unit that's not an Esper unit, but I want to know what Esper unit you want. Until then, guys, thank you so much for your support, especially via Patreon and YouTube channel members, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Take care, guys.